Welcome to today's podcast. I'm Tracey-Jane Hughes and I'm with Deborah and together we are joytosuccess.com. And today we wanted to talk about, because it's come up with some of our clients this last week, about being stuck and sort of not in the flow, and how when we know our joy of being, we can really shift ourselves back into that flow straight away. And that might sound really weird and woo-woo to some of you, but you know, I know that when I've got a clearer vision of sort of, you know, who I am and you know, my purpose in life, then I can shift myself, you know, a lot easier. So, you know, Deborah, do you want to just, you know, share a little bit more about what the joy of being means?
So, like, you know, when we're completely in alignment with ourselves and who we are, and it's funny because it's like you only know it when you know it. you know, you don't really realize that you're probably not in your joy of being because you don't know what it feels like to be in your joy of being. You know, it's our joy of being we relate to our job, but it isn't a job in the world. It's about who we are, our intrinsic being, who we came here to be in the world. And when we know, intuitively guided and receive higher wisdom to know that who we came here to be in the world, it puts us in alignment. It puts us in our flow. You know, literally, we are in our flow state. You know, this flow state is always there, but when we're not aware of it, you know, when we're not aware of who we really are, we came here to be, and in alignment with that, we're out of our flow state, and hence, you know, we're stuck. We feel stuck in that place. And you know, for my own journey of discovery for many years, the first half of my journey was all about, you know, knowing I was out of alignment, knowing I just felt different. I felt, you know, I couldn't quite, you know, I did all sorts of different jobs and, you know, and enjoyed them all, but again, just never felt quite like I'd found my thing. Because, you know, just looking for something to complete me all the time. And that just keeps us stuck, you know, it keeps us stuck, just trying to complete ourselves, trying to fix ourselves, trying to make ourselves worthy to fit in, good enough to fit in, you know, trying to make ourselves belong. You know, all that is an, you know, it's efforting, and it's and the other thing it's doing is focusing on everything that's wrong with us, or we think that's wrong with us. And again, that just keeps us more stuck. We're just digging a big hole for ourselves and just keeps us more stuck where we are. So
yeah, it's interesting because, you know, a couple of the conversations I've had this week with a couple of different clients, you know, that they felt out of place, you know, that they felt, you know, that they're not doing the right thing, or that they are totally different from the people around them. And, you know, I felt like that, you know, and, you know, it's only really recently that I felt that I'm not, you know, I suppose I know that I'm me, and I'm quite happy to be me. I think, you know, I've spent, you know, almost 49 years of trying to be somebody else because I thought that's what I needed to do. I needed to, you know, get a certificate or do a degree or get that job, get that promotion, because that was the next step. That was almost like it, you know, but I suppose now I understand that's a logical step, you know, that other people have put onto me, and it wasn't always right. I mean, obviously, you know, we all have journeys, you know, through our lives, but, you know, things didn't always feel right. Like you say, it wasn't always in flow. But it's only these last couple of years, and, you know, really, really recently, you know, since we've been, you know, working on Intuitive Steps to Success program, that I feel I really know, you know, who I am and, you know, what it is I'm working towards. And it doesn't matter which role I'm taking on in my life, but I can be that person, and I no longer feel out of place. You know, and it's I suppose I'm embracing being different, because that's me. And you know, when I was working with these clients, it was just like, no, but your uniqueness is your brilliance.
Yeah,
you know, and but they couldn't understand it. So you know, and I'm sure you've worked with people as well, Deborah, that you felt very much like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it is, you know, it's just, we keep saying it, don't we? But, you know, why, you know, we struggle all lives to fit in when we're born to stand out. You know, we're born to be who we came here to be, our own unique individual self. And that's, you know, that's why I love working this way. You know, my joy being is around intuitive mastery, and that intuitive mastery helps people discover that, you know, discover who they came here to be. You know, it's not a one size fits all. It isn't. It's about finding your unique self. You know, and that's why we've created our pod and our success pod. You know, for people of difference, because you know, we're not all the same. In fact, again, another one of my clients this week, she related it to peas in a pod. And she, you know, you open a pea pod, but every single pea is different. You know, it is. There aren't two that are exactly the same, but they're all peas in a pod. You know, and each pea is just unique and different, and that's what we are. But we've tried to, you know, we tried to mold ourselves to be like other people. You know, that's, you know, we tried to get a job with a title to be that type, you know, be that person. To put a label on ourselves to fit in and belong. You know, and the world has to tick, and people need to do these jobs. But even you know, when you know your joy of being, like you were saying, you can be that person in any role that you take on, and that is so freeing. That in itself, I know you found that, I found that for myself. You know, just to know, you know, part of my joy of being as my intuitive mastery is leading, inspiring, and motivating. I can do that in any area of my life. You know, it just makes for flow in my life. You know, I used to think, oh, I've got to work on this over here, and this is like my real thing, and these are just extra things, and it just separates us. You know, it puts our lives in boxes and divides us. You know, we're not that whole being who we came here to be. But when you realize you are that person who you came here to be, your job, your you know, your joy, that's it. You know, you find your joy of being, and you're in your flow. You are in your flow, and you're open to that flow, and things, you know, things can flow to you. And you know, it's you're in alignment with your true self and who you came here to be. So it's joyful.
Yeah, it is. And I think I'm sort of, you know, you've sort of reminded me that, you know, I've been in many places where I felt really stuck and, you know, often stuck in roles, or stuck in jobs. And sometimes it, you know, I've had times when, you know, I've had real stuckness in one of my businesses, you know, and particularly with, you know, a business that I grew from scratch, you know, Brass for Mums, and it got to a stage where, you know, I'd had so many changes and challenges with that job that, you know, I didn't love it anymore. But when I made a decision, and I have no idea how I sort of had this spark of, I've got to make a decision about this. You know, I can't, you know, I couldn't tell you what made me do that, because I think sometimes that, you know, how people find that little spark just to make that step, you know, helps them move forward. But I can't tell you what that was, because I can't remember. But I know that once I made that decision to let it go, that I know there was other things that were actually more important to me than continuing running that business. It was brilliant, you know, that the business is still running, you know, by somebody else. I sold it, but actually what I loved about the business was serving people and helping people and training people and supporting people, and that's what I loved. And that's what I then was doing through my Bra Lady business, which was already set up, you know, and I was running these things, and I was trying to keep everything running, but nothing was working quite right. And it was when I like I say, realised and took the decision to let Bras for Mums go, that things started flowing again. And it was just that, it just felt like a waterfall, like that rush of energy, of, you know, of just getting on with the next step of growing Bra Lady and training and supporting, you know, more bra fitters and things. You know, it was, but those times of real stuckness, you know, they're debilitating. They're absolutely debilitating.
Yeah, they are. And that's why most people, you know, I've done it myself. I've been there myself. You know, it's like something has to play out right to the end. You know, we have to, you know, it has to get so painful. You know, that's when that spark comes. You know, like, yeah, you're forced to make a decision, but it has to be so painful. You know, and so hard work and so much struggle, and we're moving away from something. You know, like all the time. And whereas, you know, I've been there. You know, I've been there myself. But you know, working this way, working with intuition, is, you know, you move, you forward focused, you know, all the time. You know, you're always moving forward and not away from something you don't want, you know. And you know, so, you know, it's always about creating. We're creating new things all the time. This is how this works, you know. It's amazing. So you create something, and then, you know, in a natural life cycle, that's coming to an end, but you'll you know, you intuitively know that, and then feeling some, you know, you might be feeling some stuckness around it, but it doesn't have to get to that like cringy, like, oh my god, it's debilitating. Like I say, it's paralyzing. I've been there myself. But with this way of working, you recognize that quicker, and then you know how to shift out of that. You know, you just back into your alignment with who you really are. My joy being is, you know, what is this working for me? You know, is this bringing me joy? Is it, you know, and I say joy, and people, you know, I'm just picking up people, you know, it's like, oh, I'm all happy. It's not about that. You know, being in your joy being is so powerful. You know, you're centered in your truth, in your power, in who you really are, who you came here to be, and you're moving through the world from that space. And that's like powerful. You know, you're in your own centered, powerful space, and from that space, you know, you can ask, you know, is this bringing me joy anymore? No, it's not. You know, and make that decision to let things go a lot quicker than we would have done normally. You know, which just puts you back in the flow quicker than we would have previously.
Yeah, because, you know, we all do things throughout our lives for a reason, and we have to learn, we have to gain knowledge, we have to, you know, to take on different jobs and roles, and, you know, paid employment, you know, whatever it might be, you know, and that is part of life, and that's how we grow. But we can do it from knowing who we are, almost like that golden thread that, you know, if you cut somebody open, what would you see? You know, that stick of rock, you know, and who we are, you know, and you call it, you know, in our greatness. And, you know, it's very much that once you know that core joy of being, then it doesn't matter if you're, you know, learning at school, or, you know, doing a degree, or, you know, being a nurse, or being a porter, or being a waitress, or, you know, whatever it might be, you can still, if you know what your joy of being is and you accept it, because again, sometimes we might know it but we don't accept it. Then, you know, you're serving from that place, whether it's your family, whether it's yourself, whether it's, you know, literally customers that you're serving, you know, or whether it's yeah
It's,
it's sorry, you know, it's that element.
No, it is. It's.
Go on.
No, it's all right. No, I'm listening. No, I'm just listening. I know. It's that when you know, it's like we don't know what I don't know, we don't know what we've got until we haven't got it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you know, you don't know you're out of alignment and in that stuck place until you actually see, you know, and feel that feeling of knowing and being in alignment. And then you see the difference and you go, do I want to run my life from this place? And the impact of that, you know, in my joy of being, you know, being who I came here to be, doing what I came here to do, or do I want to run it from this place, you know, being out of alignment, being stuck, being always compensating, always trying to fit in, always trying to fix ourselves. You know, you can feel the energy in that side and that side just talking about it, can't you? You know, it's yeah, you know, and that's what we're here for. We're here, you know, we've been intuitively guided. You know, this has come, you know, it's just creating itself all the time, isn't it? You know, we're just listening to higher guidance and it's creating itself. And you know, and it's just so important that people find, for me, you know, me in this training, find that first, find who they really are, you know, is the crux of everything. You know, when you find out who you really are and who you came here to be, you know, and then you go off and you know, you learn you learn intuition, how to tap into that, which will just serve you in every area of your life, you know, for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Being able to tap into that higher wisdom, and utilize it, but coming from that place of alignment, being who you came here to be, and then going out into the world and using intuition is phenomenal. It's awesome.
Yeah, but being in flow, you know, if you know what that feels like, then you know that you're stuck if you're not in that becoming
yeah
place.
Yeah, you recognize it so much quicker. You go, what's going on here? I know I'm out of alignment, I know I'm not in my flow, and then you know, you can shift it. You know, you'll have the power and the tools
and this isn't about, you know, other things or other circumstances around us, is it? This is about, you know, us ourselves taking that control, because, you know, we might have, you know, I have it quite a lot, you know, people that I live with, so my husband and my children, you know, might be doing things in the morning that, you know, are stopping me from doing what I want to do in my, you know, sort of like morning, you know, routine, or getting myself ready for my work or my clients, or, you know, whatever it might be. And I allow them, you know, and their actions to annoy me, so that puts me out of my flow. But if I just go, no, actually, you know, I'm important too.
yeah
It's as simple as that, isn't it? It's, you know, we often allow things, circumstances around us to move us out of that, you know, our flow. But if we're in our flow, it actually helps other people around us be in their flow too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And it's that, you know, the saying, it's not what happens to us, it's how we react to what happens to us. You know, if we're in reaction, then that creates another reaction, and it's, you know, it's just but I suppose, you know, that being in flow is then the allowing, you know, as well. We're allowing them to do whatever they're doing, but we're also acknowledging our own needs and what, you know, what we need too.
So, you know, if you would like to continue the conversation with us about, you know, being in flow, about joy of being, and how you get that, you know, by all means, just message us, contact us, you know, through joytosuccess.com. And, you know, we're here to help you. You know, you can join the Intuitive Steps to Success program. It's an open online program. And we're there to support you, to help you find your joy of being, and help you live in your joy of being, because that's not always easy. Once you know something, you know, it's still not easy to live in it. And, you know, we're examples of that.
Yes. Yeah, you know, it's challenges come up all the time. You know, when you're stepping out of your comfort zone all the time, it's, you know, it can be challenging. And you know, we can't do it on our own. You know, we can't. You know, we can go on our journey on our own, but we don't have to do it alone. And we would struggle to do it on our own. So, you know, that's why we're here. That's why we've created Joy to Success, to support you, help you, guide you, encourage you, motivate you, inspire you. That's what we love. That's what brings us joy, isn't it? So. Yeah.
It is. So until next time, thank you for listening to Joy to Success.